Australia. Welcome to Australian Book Travels and welcome to this week's book review or book reviews. We are doing a few at a time now, aren't we? Usually about 3 now, because I think 3 is a comfortable amount to get through. Anyway, a couple of things first. I must apologise for the lighting, but it is so hot here at the moment that I have had to pull down the blinds throughout the house so that it keeps the house much cooler. We have been experiencing a very late summer. It's now autumn, hence the autumn colours for you, but it's clearly now decided it wants to be summer, and the weather has, turned into a heat wave. We have overall had a very mild summer, albeit dry. We did have some floods earlier in the year, and I have a video that I put up on the channel must be a couple of months ago now, where we were flooded out. After that, it's just really dried out. There has been no rain for a few months. And now, joy oh joy, we're experiencing a heat wave. So last night, I think it didn't get down below 30 degrees or thereabouts. And during the day, it's very high 30s, 38, 39, and hitting that even the early 40s. So it's hot. So I apologise if I'm melting in front of you. Anyway, so that, I've told you about the heat, told you about the lighting. Let's go. 3 books. The first one is by Australian author. She's an historian, particularly focusing on the people and the place of Canberra, which is our capital city here in Australia. This is A Bookshop in Wartime by Jenny Horsfield. And I do think I bought this with you when we went to Castlemaine. If we go back to a video later last year, probably December, we visited Castlemaine, and Stoneman's book room in Castlemaine was where I purchased this. Now it's a bookshop in wartime, a bookshop in Canberra in wartime. I was expecting it to be a little bit more about a bookshop, and understandably it can't be as much about the bookshop as I would have liked, purely because, Jenny Horsfield has done an amazing job on the research in this book, but really for a little bookshop anywhere in the world, unless it's been going for centuries and centuries and there's documentation, really how much information is left, how much has been preserved. So I think Jenny's done a wonderful job getting as much information as she has about the little bookshop. But for me, I just thought, I would love to know more. I would really love to know more about this bookshop. However, she's done a brilliant job. It really does focus a lot more, probably because of the lack of information and documentation on the bookshop. She has focused a lot on the politics and society and the landscape of Canberra at that time. Now, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who are not in Australia, Canberra is our capital city, and it was always a very country town. It was in fact, there was a great deal of surprise when it was decided that Canberra would be our capital city. And really, in sort of respect of other cities in Australia, it is still considered a country town. It's not, it's a city, but, comparatively, it is considered a country town. But certainly in the 20s and 30s, and 40s, 50s, it was very much considered the country town. So Jenny Horsfield looks at the geography of the landscape as well. She talks about also the artwork that the little bookshop sold and the artwork that was around at that time. A lot of American soldiers who were in Canberra at the time of late 30s, early 40s during the war. I think Jenny has done a marvellous job for the information that she would have had on the bookshop, but certainly if you are looking for history of society, landscape, and a up-and-coming new capital, and if you're wanting to know a bit about Australia, here's the book for you. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, I shall don my beloved spectacles. We all know that's not true, but anyway, I don them. And now this it has been published by Acadia, I think in 2020. Let me just double check for you so that I'm not fibbing. 2020. And it has 203 pages. Well worth the read. All power to Jenny Horsfield. I think she's done a marvellous job. She has given you that little bit of history of the bookshop, but a lot more of what was going on at that time in Australia. It's fantastic. And the artwork there is brilliant too. Now that is a famous artwork. I'm hoping I can tell you, I can't remember who here we go. It's called Canberra Workers of 1945 by Frank Hinder. So that is a 1945 piece of art. Okay, well worth the read. I recommend it. Now another one, one of my many passions and interests is Pompeii. Developed, I think, from when I was in primary school. I was probably maybe 9 or 10 when I first saw my very first photos of plaster casts of the deceased that were found who were found in Pompeii, in the rubble of Pompeii. It was in a history book, and I was absolutely sold, not only on history, but it began and developed my absolute obsession with Pompeii and Herculaneum, which is another town sort of northeast of Pompeii, but still in the, unfortunately, in the path of the Mount Vesuvius and its explosion in 79 AD. This is a novel by 6 different writers, 6 different authors. First, Kate Quinn, Stephanie Dray, Ben Kane, Eliza Knight, Sophie Perrineau, and Victoria Alvia. I do hope I'm pronouncing all your names correctly. It was published in 2023. Yes, 2023. And it is by, now, who is it by? Published by, I know it on the tip, William Morrow. There you go. And they're an imprint of HarperCollins, Australia. Absolutely fantastic. They have, each author has one chapter and one particular fictional character to write about. Now, the 6 fictional characters are the son, the heiress, the soldier, the senator, the mother, and the whore. So each writer writes about one of those characters. However, the whole book interweaves. So each author really brings in the character from the other authors and weaves them into their own story. It is brilliantly done. Being a very passionate person and a real fanatic about Pompeii and Herculaneum, I felt I would have liked more about the day-to-day life of each of these characters. It does give you that, and it's brilliant, but because I'm passionate about it, I would love to have known a bit more. Now, each of these authors did draw references or draw information from Mary Beard's volumes on ancient Rome. And for those of you who don't know, Mary Beard is an English classicist. She has dedicated her life, and she is very well known for her works on ancient Rome. She's very knowledgeable. She has hosted a lot of documentaries on Pompeii, particularly ancient Rome, but also on Pompeii and Herculaneum. So this is a day of fire. This is a few days before and the day of the Mount Vesuvius eruption in Pompeii. I'm sorry, I don't think I said that. I'm carried away with telling you about how good it is. And look, it does it really well. I think if I'm going to present it honestly, I think there was a couple of the authors tended to relate. Ancient Romans were, as far as we're aware, they were very fluid and very open about sexuality and sex. And they draw that from pictures and the paintings on walls and artifacts and things that have been found. So that was definitely part of their life, but whether it was all their life, I very much doubt. And there are a couple of characters in here where, I mean, understandably, the whore, the prostitute, you understand. But there was just sort of, for me, if I'm going to be negative at all about this, there was probably it was just a bit too much with a couple of the characters and a couple of the stories, I thought. But look, that is being really scraping the bottom of the barrel for negativity, because it is a great book. And really well done. All power to these 6 authors. I think it was really good read, and I recommend it. Now, what I did like about this too is at the back there are notes from the authors. I don't know if you can see that. So each author writes a section on how their story came to be and how they felt about writing this their section of the novel. It was really interesting. It gives you more of an insight as to how and why they wrote what they did. And I found it really interesting. So if you can get yourself a copy, whether you borrow it or buy it, same with a bookshop in wartime. I think that was absolutely fantastic too. The thing with the bookshop in wartime, there weren't actually photos, which I thought would have been lovely. If there could have been, it would have been nice. But I'm presuming perhaps there weren't photos available, so that's understandable. But it would have been nice. So that's those 2 books. Now, my current. I can't say current because that sounds as though it's a little bit fleeting, and it's not. I think my firm modern day novelist would have to be Antoine Laurent. This is the second book I have read of his. It is vintage 1954. He's a French writer. We did a book review on his book, The Reader's Room. We did that a couple of weeks ago. That was based in Paris. This is also based in Paris. So I'm presuming a lot of his other books, I shouldn't presume, but I'm guessing that a lot of his other books are based in France or Paris. And that I do not mind one bit. So this is, again, published by Gallic, and it is translated by Gallic Books, Jane Aiken and Emily Boyce. Beautiful job they have done too. This man is a true, authentic, original storyteller. I could imagine Antoine Laurent sitting around a fireplace with adults and children, being given a subject and subsequently enthralling everyone who's listening on any subject, just being thrown a subject, and he could give you a story that will live with you forever. The first book I read, which was The Reader's Room, our first book review on one of his books, was a crime novel. Really original in its delivery, really well written, and just, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, you know, or you may not know, but I am a golden age crime fiction enthusiast. I absolutely love it. And I at the time I said to you, and I stand by it, that that has definitely washed over Antoine Laurent. I would be very interested to know whether those golden age crime classics are or have been part of his life, because he definitely has that feel about him. This is not a crime novel, and this is why I say he's an amazing storyteller. This is about four people, essentially unknown to each other, and in one instance, definitely unknown. One of the characters is an American tourist, and the other three they live in the same apartment building, but really have not known each other. They drink, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but basically they drink a bottle of 1954 wine, and they go back to 1954. It is a little time travel, but the time travel really, to me, is just the vehicle that leads you into history and love stories. There are a couple of love stories in here. There are a couple of, because it deals with history in Paris, it's also about, not regrets, but just that ability to, perhaps if you could change things, you may, or would you? But it's so much more than that. Honestly, this is absolutely fantastic. I am not a sci-fi or a real fantasy enthusiast at all. There are some fantasy books that we will, on the bookshelves, that we will review in the coming months. And I have enjoyed them, but I'm not a real enthusiast. Antoine Laurent has had me at the first page. He drew me in, and he had me reading this and loving it, every minute of it. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now this is, did I say it is 212 pages, I think? Yeah, 212. A really, really good read. And he talks about some places in Paris that were alive and well in 1954 that no longer exist, but that you can Google and find the various places that he mentions that were alive and well and very much a part of Paris, sadly now gone. So he talks about that, sort of hints on that as well a little bit, that, it's sad that these things have gone, or is it? Is progress a good thing or not? He doesn't, that's not the story, but you can see there's a thread there that for the reader you can think, oh, that's really sad that that's gone, and what's in its place. So that's how I felt anyway. This man is a real storyteller. If you want to read, the fact that he's gone from a crime novel to time travel and done it so well, and really taken me along with him, I think says something about the author. Now, I think I mentioned in the other video that I have ordered The President's Hat and The Red Notebook, which is not, or it's sold out here in Australia, so it's had to be reprinted and will not be available until May. I cannot wait to read them. I will be reading them as soon as I get them, and we can do a book review on them then. He does have a number of other books, and I'm trying to get prints of those because a lot of them have sold out, and so I'm trying my best to get his other books. He has been really well received and acclaimed by literary passionatas all over the world, including the Queen Consort Camilla. She has given him a great recommendation on, I think it was the Red Notebook. She gave him a really good wrap up on that. I think she said he was Parisian perfection. So he has been received really, really well. Now, he does have some new books coming out. One of them is The French Windows, which I think is a murder mystery. Cannot wait. I just cannot wait. So I recommend, please do yourself a favour. I just cannot imagine that you would not enjoy this writer at all. He's absolutely brilliant. So that's Antoine Laurent, Vintage 1954. These multiple authors, A Novel of Pompeii, A Day of Fire by Katie Quinn, Stephanie Dray, Ben Kane, Eliza Knight, Sophie Perrineau and Victoria Alvear, and Jenny Horsfield's A Bookshop in Wartime. All really well worth being read, particularly if you do like Australia or you're a buff on... I'm so sorry, everyone. It is so hot. The camera overheated and cut itself off. So I'm really sorry about that. And I can't go back to have a look at where we finished off, which was quite some time ago. I have had to leave the camera for quite a time to cool off. So let's try and begin where we left off. I think I was just wrapping up and suggesting definitely to read Antoine Laurent, Vintage 1954, or any book that you can get your hand on. He's just brilliant. A Novel of Pompeii, A Day of Fire by the 6 authors, absolutely brilliant. And A Bookshop in Wartime, Jenny Horsfield. All really, really good books. I recommend them. They all have their differences, their little foibles, but, you know, that's being extremely negative and scraping the bottom of the barrel of negativity, because I want to present them as honestly as I can to you, without, you know, just saying that they're all masterpieces. They're all just really wonderful books, and I think you really should read them. So, okay, I will see you on Saturday. My gosh, it's so hot. I'm perspiring. It's unbelievable. I will see you on Saturday for a travel video. Oh, that's what I was saying. I remember now. Yes, so I've been, with the travel videos, I have been concentrating on Central Victoria. Over the coming months, I will be taking you away with me. My plan is to go away for a week or so at a time, and taking you to other parts of Victoria, exploring more beaches and forests and things like that. Hopefully all with, or some with libraries and bookshops, or secondhand bookshops, or op shops with books in them, but, or sometimes not even that. Sometimes we will just go and explore Australia and explore Victoria. So that's in the coming months. I'm really looking forward to that, and that'll hopefully be before winter, so in the next few months. Anyway, I will see you Saturday for the next travel video, and the following Monday for our next book review. In the meantime, don't forget these 3 wonderful, wonderful novels. Okay, so until next time, bye for now.